1 in 7 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime, with 3,700 new cases a year.
Ziva Cussen is one such person, and she joins us now alongside GP Dr. Peres Oikeh. Thank you so much both for being here. It's lovely to have you here. Ziva, I think we're looking at you and going, how can you have breast cancer? Like, you always think that it's an older disease. What happened in 2023?
So I found a lump basically, and I went to my GP when I found the lump. It was a very small lump. Went to my GP and they had a look at it, you know, felt it. They didn't seem too concerned, you know. They said maybe a fibrodoma, they thought it was, and that's a non-cancerous benign tumour, so they didn't think anything too worried, but they referred me to the breast clinic in Beaumont, and I was waiting about 5 weeks, and then I got in there and I was seen for kind of a quick assessment there. They kind of felt it, asked me a few questions, didn't get any scans or anything that day, but quite like reassured me that they didn't think it was anything to be worried about. You know, you're young, you know, that kind of thing. And I believed them, you know, and I trusted the professional. And then, unfortunately, you know, they were wrong. Like, yeah.
Because you first recognised this lump in April 2023. How long was it before you got to have an ultrasound on this lump?
I was waiting like over 6 months for the ultrasound. You know, it was due in October. I remember after leaving that day from the hospital in Beaumont, I felt reassured that he, you know, wasn't anything to be worried about. He did say that he would get me an ultrasound, so I knew that in the back of my head I had that as well coming, but I didn't know when it was going to be. And I just, you know, finished up my college degree. I went away 6 weeks travelling and came back, and it was only then, mid-July or the end of July, I got the letter in the door about the appointment in October time. So yeah, and I knew that then was there, and I didn't have any pain or any other, you know, symptoms, so it was just the lump. And it was once I started to get pain in the lump, I was like, okay, something's not right here.
When did you get pain and how did it manifest?
Yeah, so I was big into the gym, and one day I felt like I pulled a muscle in my back and I couldn't pinpoint exactly where it was or anything like that. So I did physio, that didn't go away, and then eventually the pain started in the lump, and that's when I was like, okay, something's not right here. And I felt, you know, it was very painful, and I phoned up Beaumont to see if I could get in any earlier, and just by chance I managed to get a cancellation 2 weeks before the appointment I was supposed to actually have for the ultrasound.
So that was still October?
Still October.
You'd originally gone to your GP in February, March?
Yes, exactly, yeah. I went to my GP in February, and it was actually March time I went to Beaumont. Yeah.
For no mammogram, just kind of an exam?
Yeah, exactly.
And when you went and you had your ultrasound, what happened?
Yeah, I kind of felt, you know, something wasn't right, that, you know, they were taking a while to have a look, and I remember I was the last person that day, and the woman left the room and went and then came back like 10 minutes later, and I was like, okay. And I was in so much pain as well, and at that point, so something wasn't right, and she knew that too. And obviously then 2 days later they called me back in for a biopsy, and then it was 2 weeks later I came back in and they told me that it was invasive ductal carcinoma, breast cancer, you know.
At what stage? Sorry,
yeah. Initially, I was told, I was told they weren't sure what it was. They had to do more scans, so they were preparing me for chemo and surgery, which is what you would do in the likes of stage 1 or 2. And they told me it was definitely in my lymph nodes at that point. And so then from there, it was a case of, sorry, I get brain fog a lot. Yeah, sorry.
Of course.
But listen, when you initially get the big C, when you hear the word cancer, how does that feel? Were you there? Were you on your own? Did you have your mum who's here with you as well this morning? Yeah. Like, it must have been just so frightening.
Yeah, it was worrying. Yeah, they said to bring someone with me to the appointment, and you know, I was like, okay, that's probably not a good sign, but I still wasn't really thinking, oh, it was going to be, you know, anything as bad as it was in the end. But yeah, so my mum did come with me, and unfortunately we got the news, and initially I was just really upset, you know, because I thought I was going to be doing chemo and I was going to be losing my hair, and I was really upset about that. But then it was actually a week later, after getting the bone scan and the PET scan, they confirmed that it was in the bones, they thought, and so that made it stage 4, unfortunately. Yeah.
Stage 4?
Yeah.
What age were you when you got this diagnosis?
21, yeah, just 21, yeah.
You just turned 21?
Yeah, I think, no, well, I was turning 22 actually, so I was just nearly 22. Yeah.
I just can't even imagine. what that's like. So you're stage 4. What's current? Like, how do you get your head around that? Because we all know, you know, you're saying big words, but we all know what stage 4 is.
Yeah.
We've all been with someone who's got stage 4.
Yeah.
And they don't normally look like someone like you who's so young.
Yeah.
So how did you get your head around it?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's when everything happened, it was like when I found out, it was just like everything just stops. Your whole world stops, and everyone else keeps going on around you, and it's like you don't know. It's just like you realise how precious life is in that moment, and I think this situation has been obviously a horrible situation, but I've just had the mentality to keep positive and keep going because, you know, I don't want it to get me down, because it can easily get me down if I think about all the things that, you know, I wanted to do and that maybe I can't do now anymore, you know, like, so it's easy to think about those things and get upset, but I just try and keep my mind on what's, you know, the now, and I try and find the positive in every little situation, you know.
It's absolutely amazing. What treatment are you on at the moment for it?
Yeah, so I've been through 3 different types of hormone treatments, which all unfortunately didn't work. The cancer is just aggressive and it wasn't responding quick enough to it. And now I'm on an oral chemo drug called capecitabine. I don't know yet if it is working. The scan's coming up soon to see if that is working or not.
So you're living with cancer currently?
Yeah.
That's what your life is?
Yeah.
And the prognosis, you don't know, there's new drugs all the time?
Yeah, the hope is obviously for I stay positive, but yeah, like it's the reality of it, you know, it's not great, you know, because stage 4 and the treatment options I've gone through pretty quick, which you like to keep on, you know, the first one as long as possible. Unfortunately, I've gone through them very quickly, so it is, you know, it's not a great outcome. Yeah.
No, and
Monica, like, listen. The lump was first detected in February. It took to October to get a scan. We always hear about breast cancer, any form of cancer, early diagnosis is imperative. Like, do you have to wait so long? Is this the situation for people that they are having to, or is it because Ziva is so young that people, maybe she wasn't taken as seriously?
I just think that there's a lot of inadequacy in our healthcare system, and no matter the age, a lot of people are waiting for their scans, are waiting to see consultants. So age might have been a factor, but I don't think that's ultimately the case. When it comes to breast cancer, there are a set of guidelines that physicians follow, and even so in terms of referrals and also getting the scans, and also the type of scans you're getting. You know, so the ultrasound would be more suitable for someone that's younger, and then the mammogram would be exactly. So I would like to think the age wasn't necessarily a factor, but the fact that we just don't have the capacity to get the scans as quick as possible.
And pre-COVID, it was 185,000 women, and men can get breast cancer as well, by the way. Up to 60 men are diagnosed a year. Up to 185,000 people were getting scanned, and that obviously COVID, the waiting list got longer, and you were in 2023. Like, we've got to think there's some correlation here. But Ziva did everything right. She felt a lump. So what do we need to do for anyone who's listening right now? Because we cannot lose faith. You have to engage with the healthcare system. So what should we do?
So exactly. So first of all, we need to be breast aware, and that's a good thing about Breast Cancer Ireland, the charity. They even have an app that you can set a reminder to get your screen and to do your self-checks. So that is something that everyone should do. So I always say anyone from in their 20s, both men and women, you should all do your screening, your self-exam. And then from that, if you do that monthly, you know your breast, like she did, and she went to her GP, and the GP referred her on. Now this is up to the government to put more funding into our healthcare system, to get the staffing in, to get the infrastructure in, to get the equipment that we need, so that we're not waiting this long, because it's absolutely ridiculous that you're waiting 6 months for an ultrasound.
Ridiculous, I think, sums it up. Ziva, you did everything right. You're 23 years of age. You have stage 4 cancer. Do you feel angry? How do you feel?
No, I obviously there's moments where I do feel anger towards, you know, the system, because I feel like they have let me down. But I try and turn that into, you know, some sort of positive. Like, don't think the anger would, you know, my anger now is to try and help other people and to, you know, make sure that this never happens again, and that my story is used as, you know, an example and a case that going forth that no other woman will be left waiting as long as I was left waiting. You know?
Because you're involved with Breast Cancer Ireland, and you were talking about this for a reason.
Yeah,
and we spend the most per capita in our health system in Europe, and things like this can happen. You're incredible. to just sit here and talk like this. And I can't imagine how frustrating it is for doctors to go, we need to get this going. But again, regular breast checks and get involved with the breast chest programmes, I think, Monica, right?
Yes, yeah, that's the thing. I know, speaking to a lot of patients, the mammograms, some people skip it. So
because they're painful?
Because they're painful. And it is something, it's a way, we shouldn't let the pain deter us from getting the screening.
Yeah.
And there are advances in breast cancer, in scanning, unfortunately, that we don't have in Ireland. But by having, I suppose, the right people in government to push for these resources, we're going to get it. But please attend your screening. It's free, so go for it. So anyone that from the age of 50 to 69, you get your free mammograms. But before then, you need to do your self-checks. You need to be breast aware. So that's the key here. Be breast aware. Do not ignore your symptoms and get in touch with your doctor and advocate for yourself. If you're waiting this long, ring up your doctor, ring up the hospital, get your scan, get seen.
Yeah.
Good woman.
And I think the breast check ages should, free breast checks should be brought down for a younger age.
Yeah.
The research shows Breast Cancer Ireland have done their, have highlighted how the age is, the younger women are, it's increasing.
It's increasing.
Breast cancer is increasing in young women, and it's really important that the government and the HSE listen to us and, try and bring it down,
Ziva, you're incredible. We wish you all the best. New drugs all the time, and this attitude is unbelievable. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story, and that you're not just ripping the Department of Health apart is unbelievable. And Dr. Monica Peres, thank you so much for coming in and chatting to us about this. Please do go on to Breast Cancer Ireland if there are anything, and also breast cancer affects both men and women. Just remember that.